up in the morning, love, and the sunlight hurts my eyes, and something without warning, love, bears heavy on my mind. Then I look at you, and the world's alright with me. Just one look at you, and I know it's gonna be a lovely day.
Welcome to WNHH-FM 103.5 Just-in-Time Conversations. I'm your host, Justin Farmer, inviting you to be in community with us, with people making a difference in conversations that matter. Today, our guest is Rebekah Fraser. Thank you so much for being in community with us.
Thank you, Justin. It's a pleasure to be here. Can you hear me all right? Should I move closer?
Just a little bit closer.
Okay. Thank you, Justin. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, you have been a longtime community member, someone that I've bumped into time and time again around sustainability stuff. And so I'm excited to talk about trash fashion with you.
Yeah.
So for those of us who may not know, I think it's self-explanatory, but what is trash fashion and how did you get into it?
Well, trash fashion, for example, is like these earrings that I made from window screen that was in my friend's garage.
Oh, wow.
And this little rubber duck, which I found in Edgewood Park.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's a movement that has been a global art movement for over 20 years.
Okay.
The term trashion or trash fashion was coined in New Zealand in 2004. But essentially, it's a totally accessible way of creating art, wearable art garments, from materials that would otherwise be thrown away. So, like things that you find. Now, of course, even if I stand up, I've discovered no one can see the skirt I'm wearing except for you because you're in the room, Justin. But
it's wonderful.
Well, thank you. So on the skirt, it's the top of it is a pair of jeans that were beyond repair. So I cut off the legs and then added a tablecloth and a table runner, and then I embellished it with confetti that I made out of credit cards and a broken car mirror that I found on Willard Street in Westville. And of course I sterilized it. And also a bike reflector found on the street in Westville. And then I made like a decorative belt. It's not a functional belt, but I made it from a spent charging cord from my phone, and then also macrameed together two different earbud cords, so a white and a black one, so you can really see the pattern of the macrame. So yeah, now this is like my particular style of trash fashion. I like to combine refashioning fabric with actual trash. Some people are trash purists. So Sewell, who is a costume designer from Barnard and on my Trash to Fashion core team, only works with things that she would otherwise throw away. And she's kind of obsessed with cereal bags. Like you get a box of cereal and there's that bag, right? So she made a gorgeous wrap out of one last week. We were hanging out, a group of us were hanging out and making trash fashion. And then over the weekend, she made this really cute jacket out of cereal bags and other like food wrappers. She sent me a picture this morning and I was just like, oh my God, yes. So, and then other people prefer to just use upcycled textiles. So, you know, that old tablecloth that grandma used, but it's like pretty ratty and, you know, you don't want to put it on the table now and or those old sweaters that you accidentally shrank all 5 of them, but it's good quality fabric. So now you just cut them up and sew them into one new sweater or a poncho or something. Um, so there's like the 3 different forms of it. But yeah, that's trash fashion.
Yeah, and so how did you get into this world realm? Like,
Uh,
what inspired you to be part of this movement?
So I mean probably the seeds were planted when I was a teenager, and this movie came out called Pretty in Pink.
Okay.
And Molly Ringwald is, the girl from the lower income family, single parent family, and she gets invited to the prom and can't afford a dress. So
Mm.
she makes one out of, I forget what, but it's like a curtain and some other thing, and it's gorgeous. And she's like, she's stunning in it and whatever. So that kind of planted a seed back when I was like 16. Then 2005, I went to an art exhibit at Mass MoCA, and there was this amazing exhibit of all of this trash fashion, like beautiful gowns made from, I think there was a caution tape gown. There was one that was made out of bed linens, or it might have been bed ticking now that I think about it, which is like the mattress cover.
I was just about to ask.
Yeah, it's like the fabric that covers your mattress, that is on your mattress. And I'm only thinking that because I'm envisioning the pattern of that fabric, and it's like kind of unique to old school bed ticking. Anyway, so that just really like ignited something in me, but I didn't quite know what to do with it for a little while. A couple years later, my daughter was turning 10. 10-year-olds, this is when they're starting to get into being cool and wanting to look good and and have something fashionable. And so I thought, well, why not celebrate that, but also send the message that we don't have to take ourselves too seriously. Like fashion is something we can play with and not be manipulated by. So, so we had a trash fashion birthday party. All the kids came to my friend's photography studio, which happened to have a red carpet running through it. We made trash fashion. I was the only parent who made it because I am a kid at heart. And then my friend took photos of all the kids, and they each got to walk down the red carpet, and their party favors were photos of the group and of themselves, and they had a blast. And it was such an easy and cheap thing to do, and creative. And so that was like kind of the beginning. I saved the gown that I made for a long time from that. We had to cut it off me though, because I duct taped it around myself. It was all like contact paper, and there was a map and magazine pages and food wrappers, and I didn't know how else to assemble things except to put them all on contact paper and then duct tape the ball or the dress around myself. So we had to cut it off, but it was worth it. Yeah. So that was the beginning. A few years later, on my cultural council, we had extra money, and I suggested we create a trash fashion ball, and everyone was crazy enough to go along with that idea, and it was a huge success for 3 years in a row.
Oh wow!
Yeah. So that was kind of, how the long-winded answer to how I got into it. And I started making jewelry and selling it in boutiques in central Massachusetts and stuff. So.
Wow. So, we're going to get into the show that you have coming up, but, what, obviously, the environment is a big factor, and, fast fashion, tons and tons and tons of clothes, literally tons in the metric, not just
millions of garments every day are burned by the fast fashion industry, polluting the air. And Sure, this happens mostly in places like, various countries in Africa or Chile. And so it's easy to think that that does not affect us. But if you remember, just 2 years ago, there were these wildfires in Canada, and we had smoke thousands of miles away. So here in Connecticut, our skies were orange. Our water was polluted. I know this for a fact because I have a water filter that measures the particulates that it filters out. And for 3 days after every wildfire event, the numbers were much higher, which is also consistent with research that comes out of Fort Collins, Colorado, about wildfire smoke polluting the water.
Oh, wow.
And the soil. So these dramatic events that occur, whether they're weather events or fires, we often think of them as far away. If it's not happening to us, it's easy to think that it's not our problem. But in fact, it very often is our problem or becomes our problem no matter where we are. So what the fashion industry, they also contribute about 10% of greenhouse gases, which is more than the airline industry.
Wow, yeah. You said it all.
Yeah, I didn't actually. There's more, which you can find on our website, trashtofashion.substack.com. Yeah, there is more. The fashion industry's contribution to environmental degradation and therefore human health degradation is significant and disturbing. And countries like France are passing laws that make it more difficult for the fast fashion companies to operate there. Unfortunately, our nation's environmental regulations are all being rolled back. So we can work towards state legislation, state by state, but that these things take time. And what takes less time is for individuals to act together. And that's what Trash to Fashion encourages, but in a meaningful and playful way.
So yeah, you have this fashion show coming up. When is it? Where is it? How do people get involved?
Yeah, so Justin, this is crazy. I actually brought the new flyer with me because it is no longer one event.
Oh, hey.
Yeah. Just in the last few days, everything has changed. So what originally was going to be our one trash fashion workshop and ball on October 11th is now really 4 events. So we have been gifted a pop-up space at 63 Audubon Street, so that's right next to Aces High School, and that starts July 19th. Well, actually, we take the keys on July 14th, and we will set up a trash fashion exhibit. I have right now 8 artists confirmed and a possible 9th. I can't even believe that. I mean, I literally just got word last Wednesday from the Yale School of Art, who owns that space, that we could have this. And then I was hoping we could push it to September, and that wasn't possible. So we met on Thursday and talked about details, and then Monday, finalized things. So in these few days, I have been blessed to get commitments from 8 designers and artists who will be represented in the show. And so the exhibit will run from July 19th to August 17th. And this includes garments by New Haven's top designers, names you would recognize if you pay attention or if you're on Instagram, and visual artists, as well as new and emerging artists, and even a member of Trash to Fashion's core team, who is not an artist, but came with me to the Yale Innovation Summit. And so we decided that the three of us going, should wear trash fashion. So we got together and he learned how to make trash fashion from me on a Sunday afternoon and learned to sew and went home and finished the garment, like to make it more the way that he wanted it. And then last week he made a matching garment for his dog, which you will see online. It's so cute. Anyway, so that's the exhibit. The opening reception is July 25th. That's a Friday. It's from 5 to 7. So I hope you will come, Justin. I hope you will come, friends watching and listening. And that will also feature a reading from a local author who I'm very close to. Her name is Tara Elroy. And this is my alter ego, actually. And Tara is publishing a new novel in November called Refashioned by Love. It features a trash fashion artist. So I truly did not really expect when I was writing this book 4 years ago that I would then create all these events. It's just really bizarre to me how it's like life imitating art and art imitating life. It's strange.
Best way possible.
Yeah, it's happening. It is happening. It's a very meta experience. On August 9th, also at 63 Audubon, we will have a trash and ideation workshop, which is basically like people learning how to conceive and design a trash fashion garment. So there will be more information about that online. And then finally, our biggest event, and the one that for months we've thought was going to be our only event this year, is the Trash to Fashion Workshop and Ball. And that's on October 11th at Brigamos Community Theater. We will spend 90 minutes with trash fashion artists and designers learning how to make trash and garments. And we won't just learn how, we will be actively making stuff. You can only do so much in 90 minutes. So the focus is on process, not product. There's no concern for like whether it's glamorous or whether a person feels like it even looks good. The idea is to learn a new skill in community, to explore your creativity in community, to practice this skill in community. And then when we're done, we celebrate. DJ Dulio is going to spin for us. We've got photography by Miss Dina Hanscom of Lotta Studio. We have zero waste catering with rescued food from Haven's Harvest. There will be composting by Peels and Wheels composting so that nothing goes to waste. Like also, we'll have to-go containers if there's stuff people want to take home, but whatever's left and not edible will be composted. What am I missing? We are also, here's something fun. Goodwill of Southern New England is donating glassware. So that the only plastic cups and bottles you will see at our event will be on people's outfits. That makes me happy. And then finally, HelpSee is going to run our textile recycling drive at the ball. So you can come with anything that you'd like to incorporate into a garment, but you can also come with bags of textiles that you don't know what to do with. They're unwearable. It's the unmentionables. It's the, as long as there's no like blood or anything on things, as long as they're clean, they can be donated to HelpSee. And then HelpSee has a variety of ways of recycling them. If things are in good condition, they will actually resell them. If they are not in good condition, they go to a company that turns textiles into insulation for housing and or buildings, and also into like stuffing for upholstered products. So So yeah, it's an intersectional activity, I think. It's
For
serious.
those of y'all who are just joining us, you're listening to Just in Time Conversations, WNHHFM 103.5. Just in Time Conversations here with our guest, Rebekah Fraser, talking about the Trash Fashion show. So, from the last time we talked, you have a lot more going on.
Yeah. 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 I think we saw each other like 3 weeks ago, and I was like, we've got this one event. And now it's like, oh, I'm putting together an art show in 2 weeks. And I don't sleep much.
No, so there's definitely a love and passion for this work. But, you talked a little bit about aesthetics and about how important it is for us to feel comfortable in our, in our garments, in our skin. What do you hope with these events that people will get out of that messaging?
I mean, there's a lot. I would love for people to come away with an understanding of like how they can turn trash into other things, right? I'd love for people to recognize that our purchasing choices and the way that we choose to use materials and resources and whether or not we dispose of them and how we dispose of them, each of those steps is a choice. And those choices are a reflection of how we care for ourselves and each other. And I think that's something we don't often think about. We just kind of, we go by habit or by what is usually done, right? I have a big event. I don't want to spend a lot of money. I'm going to get this thing on Shine. Like it. Well, okay, but there's an alternative. Whether it's renting a garment or buying something that's really high quality that you can wear to multiple events, or borrowing something from a friend, or doing a clothing swap. So that's part of the media that we are in the process of producing. Is our website it's nascent now, but as it grows over time, the intention is for it to really become a hub of information and resources. You want to rescue fabric that would otherwise be burned by the fashion industry. Here's a website where you can get dead stock. That's what that fabric is called. Here's a website where you can get dead stock. You want to host a clothing swap, but you don't know how. Here's a post on how to do that. Here's a list of clothing swaps that people have shared with us that are happening in the region. Here are vintage stores. Here are second, thrift stores. Here's how to repair a garment, or a cushion or whatever. So I want people to come away, one, with the understanding that they have choices. Two, with the understanding that those choices actually matter and they impact people far beyond themselves. Every time we buy something that's made from plastic or polyester or nylon, which is also plastic, that is contributing to the environmental pollution in Cancer Alley, Louisiana. And that pollution, that area is called Cancer Alley because the rates of cancer are so much higher. And there are other chronic, debilitating illnesses that are in high rates in that area because of the pollution from manufacturing plastic and all its different forms. Petroleum-based plastic. There are bioplastics. Those are harder to find. And certainly in our fabric, most of the time, it's petroleum-based. So I want people to recognize that those choices do make a difference. They do have ripple effects. And then also to feel empowered. I love the abundance of energy that is swelling up now as people take to the streets and carry signs and make important statements. There are a lot of reasons why that activity matters. But at the end of the day, that needs to be a starting point. because really what that is telling someone else to do something. And that someone else may not listen and may not care. And certain people in our administration certainly don't. And certain corporations certainly don't. We can say all day long, divest from fossil fuels, but if they haven't done it yet, it's kind of unlikely that they will. But we can on an individual level. And if more of us do that through our purchasing choices and other options I'll probably get into later, but don't want to do now. If we make those choices on an individual level and a family level and a community level, then we are taking our power back. And that's really what I would love to see more people do. Take your power back. We are empowered to make a difference, to clean up our environment. And some of that is getting involved in politics, but it goes far beyond that. Politicians listen to us, not just to what we say, but to what we do. Companies listen to what we do, not what we say. If a bunch of us stop buying X, Y, or Z, or investing our money in this or that organization, we don't have to do it so that they'll change, right? But we can put them out of business. That'd be nice.
God willing. No, I as you were talking, I thought about Target, right? Who famously decided this year that they would get rid of all their DEI, right? So they'd get rid of DEI practices, but also get rid of Pride Month, Juneteenth, right? All these cultural celebrations.
Yeah.
And that had a huge effect on them, right? They thought that this wouldn't have an effect on their bottom line.
Right.
And then through people's actions, it did have an effect. And now they're trying to court people back to their establishment. So I hear kind of what you're saying about the individual choice. Can you talk a little bit more about the societal structural choices that we make? Because I often hear the argument from people that, you as an individual recycling or you as an individual doing something does not have the impact that it needs to have that domino or knockdown effect to affect these bigger things. And I think you elaborated to it somewhat, but if you can speak more to those who might have that negative perception where they as an individual don't have the power.
Yeah, I mean, the idea that you don't have the power to do anything, that's a story that you have been sold. And I, invite you to disbelieve that story. Just consider that, it's false. And explore the possibility of actually being active, actually making different choices. You really don't have anything to lose by putting your glass bottles in the recycling bin. I mean, really, it does not cost you anything. It doesn't, it maybe,
in fact,
it doesn't
gives
take
you money.
What?
It in fact gives you money.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, listen, you can bring those to the store and recycle them there and get money back. Or if you're, I'm maybe a little not motivated to do that. So I'll just throw them in the recycling bin and put them on the curb, and then usually someone will walk by, someone who is in need will walk by and collect them, and then they get money from it. And that's great. Or if nobody does, then the city of New Haven comes and takes it away and sends it to the recycling facility where it gets turned into another glass item. Glass, plastic, paper. There was a big documentary that came out in 2019 that revealed that most of plastic recycling, is bogus. And that is true in many states. However, it is not true in Connecticut. I know this because my friend who works for the Connecticut Department of Energy and Environmental Protection hammered that into my head. I was just like, no, that's not true. So, so we can recycle plastic here. Not all plastic. You have to look at the number and then, look at, of course, I'm right now blanking on where you can actually find out which numbers can be recycled. I want to say if you go to New Haven Solid Waste Recycling Authority's website, you'll find the information there, or just Google what, plastic that can be recycled in Connecticut. But, paper, aluminum, cans, like these can all be recycled, and we have curbside recycling here. So that's a really easy step to take to make a difference. If you were the only person in the community doing it, this is true, it wouldn't make a difference. But as part of a community of people doing it, and many people are doing it in this community, I see the blue bins out, then that is making a difference. Collective, useful action makes a difference. And there are so many things that you can do. Collective purchasing choices make a difference. Buying less plastic or no plastic, if at all possible. Yeah, I feel like I could kind of babble on and on, but I mean, you saw me. This is my water bottle. It's rather beat up because I drop it all the time. Now I'm covering it with stickers. Nice little trash to fashion sticker. I have one for you, Justin, if you want it. But, the simple act of carrying around a metal water bottle, like I do not use then, God knows how many plastic bottles I would use in a day. 5 probably. If I were doing that, this is a choice. And just me, 5 water bottles a day, 300 days a year. There are more than that, but I'm trying to make the math easy for myself. That's 1,500 plastic bottles a year. So, and that's just me. The more of us who do that, that's significant.
So, you are a journalist, writer, storyteller. Why are these narratives that we tell ourselves important? And why is this, event of, changing that narrative so important?
Wow, what a great question. Let me just take 2 seconds to actually formulate a really good answer. I mean, the stories that we tell ourselves, they impact everything from how we feel about ourselves, how we feel about our community. And that's big because how we feel can affect our health. It affects our choices. And, I mean, if you are telling yourself a story that you have no agency, then you are, or that there is no hope, then you're less likely to act when you actually have the power to act, when you actually have the power to help somebody. And I mean, it can be as simple as like offering someone a smile, or like, I mean, that can change someone's whole outlook for the day.
Thanks.
The stories that we tell ourselves are incredibly powerful, and they affect everyone around us as well. Because if a person is walking around feeling disempowered, frustrated, marginalized, that makes it harder to bring their best self to their friends, their family, their workplace, the community. And we now more than ever really need to be bringing our best selves. We need to be finding the power within and meeting each other in our power. Not like power tripping. I'm talking about like the real internal sense of well-being, sense of, it's like recognizing you matter. I think that's it. You matter, friend, whoever's watching this. You matter, Justin. I matter. Like, and that could sound trite, but I hope it doesn't, because there was a point where someone said to me, gosh, 20 years ago, someone said that to me. And and until they said that to me and wouldn't stop saying it, like I was like, yeah, I know. And they're like, no, you matter. And I'm like, yeah, I get it. And they're like, no, Rebekah, you matter. And it was like I was annoyed at first, but then I actually internalized it and got it. And once I did, it really shifted. Like, oh, if I matter, then first of all, it was like, oh, I didn't realize how much I had internalized the story that I don't. Right. And so, but then like hearing it over and over, you know, in this annoying way, was like, oh, wait, okay. So I do. If I do, that changes things. That changes how I show up. That changes, like, I struggle with being on time to places. And before I heard that new story, it was like, well, it doesn't matter if I'm late. And, people are used to it and it's fine. It doesn't matter. And it's not like it has to always be a big deal, right? But recognizing that actually if I matter, that means my presence matters. That means if I am invited to a place or expected to, be at a place to be of service or to help someone, pick someone up, whatever, like if I'm supposed to be doing something and I don't show up for that, or I show up late, then that can really impact the other person or the group. And it might impact the story they're telling themselves. Very often when someone's late, people have the idea it's because they don't matter, right? It's, it's not like, no, I just, never know what time it is. I lose track of it. I really have issues trying to, grasp time. But, and not that I'm responsible for the story that someone else is telling themselves, but I certainly would prefer to facilitate a positive experience for people. And if me simply showing up on time can make that difference, then why not make a bigger effort to show up on time, because I matter, because my presence there matters. Not to hammer, I feel like I'm beating this point to death, but and now I actually forget what your question was.
So you talked about being hopeful.
Yeah.
What makes you hopeful in this time?
A lot of things. I mean, on a personal level, just my daughter.
Hey.
Just her existence, her partner's existence. They're like beautiful, delightful people. My mother and her relationship with my stepfather, and their beautiful love story and how dedicated they are to each other. And then the people in this community who have joined me in this trash to fashion endeavor, in bringing this to life. Not only my core team, who are, I just want to shout out a few names, if that's all right. So we have fiscal sponsorship from Dwight Hall at Yale. And so Johnny Scafidi is my liaison there, and liaison, like, I mean, we're friends at this point. And I mean, God, at our first meeting, he made food for us.
Oh,
And the second meeting too. Like, I was like, this, I think, is above and beyond.
I think I need to have a meeting.
Yeah, right. So Johnny is amazing, a total sweetheart, and such a great advisor in terms of the business aspect of things. M.A. Berg, who is the gallery director at the Ely Center of Contemporary Art. She was, early supporter, and we have a really lovely creative partnership. Excuse me, Derek Faulkner, who is with the Research and Innovation Hub at Southern, and an ardent environmentalist. That's how we connected. He is just so consistent, so shows up to every meeting, follows up immediately with whatever action he's said he's going to take, has connected me to so many people, and helped Trash to Fashion to really blossom. Ife Michelle Gardine just has been a wonderful advisor and an enthusiastic supporter from the beginning. Like, she was one of the people who I talked to about the idea. Like, do you think this would be a good idea? And she was like, yes. Yes. Miss Dina Hanscom of Lotta Studio, her creative insight, she's styled all of our Instagram posts. And just, she comes in with these questions that are so helpful. Like, asking the right questions really matters when you're trying to put something together. And then Sewell Golden, who I mentioned earlier, she's the costume designer who teaches at Barnard, and she has come in with this wealth of creativity and is really inspiring. And so I'm super grateful for these people who have been meeting with me pretty much every week since March, to pull this together. And then we also have amazing collaborators. Okay, I better look at my list because I don't want to forget anybody. Okay, so we have as our collaborators Bergamos Community Theater, where we'll be hosting the workshop and ball. EcoWorks, Havens Harvest, Helpsy, and the New Haven Solid Waste Recycling Authority, in addition to the organizations I already mentioned. We have received funding from the Community Foundation for Greater New Haven. And shout out to Lee Cruz, who is like my champion and superstar. I received personal funding to explore the viability of this idea from the Design School for Regenerating Earth Forests of the Northeast Fund Share program. And most recently, we received a grant from the New England Grassroots Fund for the Environment. So I'm just super grateful for all of those organizations. And then we have in-kind sponsorship from Goodwill of Southern New England, Hull's Art Supply and Framing, Peels and Wheels Composting, and Pistachio Print Company. So yeah, I just, the way that all of these organizations and obviously it's people have stepped in to be supportive, to offer advice, to offer assistance, to connect me with others. That's just been such a blessing. And that really gives me hope. Like, seeing how I could come up with this bizarre idea and people are like rallying around it and recognizing that it has value. Actually Cheryl Baldwin at Connecticut Department of Energy and Environmental Protection, in a personal capacity, not representing the organization, but she was the first person who, when I shared this idea with her, she was just like, you have to do this. We need this. And that was a total surprise to me that someone would feel that way. about, this idea. So, yeah, I feel like, and then I go out and I talk to people at different events, and everywhere I go, people are excited about it, and they want to know like how they can participate and how they can help, and can they bring me materials? And the answer to that is not yet. But you can bring materials to our workshop and ball, and there may be other opportunities. So you should definitely go to our website and get, sign up for our newsletter, so that you, one, will find out about new opportunities as they come, to get information about resources, and three, so that you find out when registration opens, both for the ideation workshop on August 9th and the trash fashion making workshop and ball on October 11th, because those events are free to attend, but registration is required.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely get on our mailing list. But yeah, just seeing how this idea really lights people up, that gives me a lot of hope. People want to do something. And Ayanna Elizabeth Johnson wrote this in her book, What If We Get It Right? 62% of adults in the United States want to help reduce greenhouse gases, but 51% don't know how. So we're trying to teach people one way to do that.
Thank you. As we're in our last minutes, I always ask people, what's a song that we can remember them by?
Oh, Lord.
Or a favorite song of yours.
Okay. Wow. Well, I guess this is kind of appropriate. I have like now multiple songs flooding my head. So there's like the lifelong favorite song that's a love song, because I write romance novels. This is who I am at the core. And that is Paul McCartney's Maybe I'm Amazed.
Oh.
Yeah, which I mean kind of applies to also this endeavor, because it's like, well, I'm kind of amazed at how people are stepping up and how things are evolving so quickly. That like thought we were having one event, now we're having four. And can I just mention also, we are looking for lead sponsors.
Hey.
We definitely could use funding. So if you have that, or your organization would like to offer support in that way, we also would love more boots on the ground volunteers. I would love to create a street team of people running around and interviewing folks randomly, or interviewing friends about what they know about fast fashion, what they would like to change, what they're willing to learn, what they want to learn in terms of making, repairing garments, what they know about trash fashion. I've had some very interesting answers when I've asked that question of people. So, yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being in community with us. Let us continue to plant the seeds of change.
Thank you.
So we can grow together.
Agreed. Community is what it's all about, Justin. Thank you.
Yeah. Yo, what time the plane leaving? All right. See you at the airport. I'm leaving on the next plane. I don't know when I'll be back again. Kiss me and smile for me. Tell me that you wait for me. Hold me like you know I'll never go. Even though you know I will, I'm a traveling man. Moving through places, space and time. Got a lot of things I got to do. God willing, I'm coming back to you. Baby boo, I'm a traveling man. Moving through places, space and time. Got a lot of things I got to do. God willing, I'm coming back to you. Baby boo, I'm leaving.